My name is Evelyn Marie Thompson. I turned 65 last spring, but the calendar doesn't tell the whole story. I've lived in this brownstone on Stuyvesant Avenue in Bedford-Stuyvesant since 1982. I bought it with my own money, every down payment, every mortgage check, every late-night shift at the post office, and then at the Board of Education. My late husband, James, God rest his soul, used to say, "Evie, this house is your spine. Don't ever let anybody bend it." For 38 years, I kept it straight. I painted the stoop every Memorial Day. I planted hydrangeas in the front yard that bloomed so purple the neighbors called them Evelyn's royalty. I refinished the original oak floors myself when I was 47. I paid off the mortgage in 2001. I turned the third-floor attic into a sewing room with a view of the Manhattan skyline on clear days. This house wasn't just bricks and mortar. It was proof I had made it. Then my grandson, Marcus, moved in. Marcus is my only daughter's only child. He's 28 now, tall like his grandfather, handsome in that careless way young men can be. He grew up calling me Nana Evie. When he was little, he used to sit on my lap in the parlor and ask me to tell him stories about how I marched with Dr. King in '63, how I met James at the Apollo when Smokey Robinson was singing, how I saved every penny from my first job so I could buy this place. I thought those stories had sunk in. I was wrong. It started 4 years ago, right after his mother, my daughter Tanya, passed from breast cancer. Marcus was 24 then, fresh out of college with a communications degree and no real plan. He showed up on my stoop with a duffel bag and red eyes. "Nana, I can't stay in Mom's apartment. It's too empty. Can I crash here for a little while, just till I get on my feet?" I opened the door wider than my common sense told me to. "Of course, baby. Come in." He brought his girlfriend Kayla, 2 months later. "She's going through a rough patch too," he said. "We'll help with the bills, I promise." I believed him. At first, it wasn't so bad. They paid a token amount toward utilities. Kayla cooked sometimes. Marcus fixed the leaky faucet in the downstairs bathroom. I told myself I was helping family. That's what grandmothers do. But slowly, the house stopped feeling like mine. They took over the second floor first. The guest room became their bedroom. The small sitting room next to it became Marcus's office. They moved my antique sewing machine to the basement for storage. They changed the Wi-Fi password and didn't tell me the new one until I asked 3 times. They started inviting friends over on Friday nights. Loud music, red cups, laughter that echoed until 3 a.m. I'd lie in my bed on the first floor, staring at the ceiling, wondering when my house had become a frat house. Then came the night that changed everything. It was a Tuesday in October. I had come home early from my part-time job at the library. I was tired. My knees ached from standing too long at the circulation desk. All I wanted was to sit in my favorite armchair in the parlor, watch Jeopardy, and eat the leftover collard greens I'd made on Sunday. I walked into the parlor. Marcus was sprawled on my velvet sofa feet on the coffee table, shoes still on, watching a basketball game on my 65-inch TV. Kayla was in the kitchen, talking loudly on speakerphone to someone about how cramped this place is. I cleared my throat. Marcus didn't look up. "Nana, can you keep it down? I'm trying to watch the game." I blinked. "Marcus, this is my parlor, my TV, my sofa." He finally glanced at me, eyes flat. "Yeah, well, this is our house now, Nana. You're just in the way. If you don't like it, maybe you should stay in your room. Or better yet, think about moving to one of those senior places. We'll take care of everything." The room went quiet. Even the TV seemed to mute itself. Kayla poked her head out of the kitchen. "Babe, don't be mean. She's just old." Marcus shrugged. "She's gotta understand. We're young. We need space. This brownstone is prime real estate. We're not gonna let it sit empty while she hobbles around." I stood there, keys still in my hand, coat still on. My heart didn't race. It didn't even hurt. It just settled, like a stone dropping into deep water. I looked at my grandson, the boy I had raised when his mother was working double shifts, the boy I had paid college tuition for, the boy I had given the keys to my house. Then I looked at the house itself, the stained glass window above the front door, the banister I had sanded and stained with my own hands, and I knew. I turned around, walked to the coat closet, and pulled out my small, rolling suitcase, the one I used for weekend trips to Atlantic City with my church sisters. I went upstairs to my bedroom, packed a week's worth of clothes, my medications, my Bible, my checkbook, and the leather folder that held the deed, the title insurance, and my will. I didn't say goodbye. I didn't argue. I just left. I locked the front door behind me, dropped the key into my purse, and walked down the stoop. The October air was crisp. The streetlights were just coming on. I hailed a cab on Fulton Street. Where to, ma'am? The Ace Hotel in Manhattan, downtown. The driver glanced at me in the rearview mirror. You sure? That's a nice spot, I'm sure. At the hotel, I checked in under my own name. The clerk gave me a senior discount without me asking. I took the elevator to the 7th floor, opened the door to a clean, quiet room, and sat on the edge of the bed. For the first time in 4 years, the house wasn't breathing down my neck. I didn't cry. I called my lawyer instead. Clarence Hayes and I had known each other since the 1990s, when we both worked for the city housing department. He was a year younger than me, sharp as a tack, and one of the few people who still called me Evie without making it sound like a diminutive. Evie, it's late, he answered on the second ring. Everything all right? Marcus told me to go to my room, said the house is his now. Silence then. I told him everything. The 4 years of temporary living, the unpaid bills, the noise, the disrespect, the final insult. Clarence didn't interrupt once. When I finished, he said, "You still have the original deed in your name?" "Yes." "No lease agreement?" "None." "You've been paying all the taxes, utilities, insurance, every penny." "Then they're guests, Evie, month to month at best. You can terminate that tenancy tomorrow." I exhaled. I want them out. You want them out with consequences? I want them to understand what they've done. He chuckled softly. I'll draw up the notice tonight. 30-day notice to quit, plus a demand letter for back rent at fair market value. Brooklyn brownstone, prime block. We're talking $3,500 a month minimum. 4 years. That's over $160,000, plus damages, plus legal fees. I smiled for the first time that night. Send it certified mail and personal service. I want them to feel it. Consider it done, and Evie. Yes. Check into a nicer hotel tomorrow. You deserve it. I laughed. I'm already here. The next morning, I woke up early. I ordered room service, AG's bacon, coffee, fresh orange juice. I ate at the little table by the window, watching the city wake up. Then I dressed in my favorite navy blazer, white blouse, and black trousers. I put on pearl earrings and my wedding band. I looked in the mirror and saw a woman who still had her spine. I called Clarence at 8:30 sharp. Papers are ready. My associate, Jamal, will serve them personally at 10 a.m. You want to be there? No, I said. I want to be at the bank. I took a cab to my branch on Flatbush Avenue. I sat down with the branch manager, Mrs. Patel, a lovely woman who had helped me for years. I need to freeze the secondary card attached to my account, the one Marcus and Kayla have been using. She nodded immediately. Immediately, and please block any further transfers to their linked accounts. Done. I also instructed her to set up a new, separate checking account in my name only. I moved half my savings into it, enough to live comfortably for the rest of my life, plus a cushion. Then I called Verizon and had the cable, internet, and landline suspended at the brownstone. Reason, renovation, I told the representative. We'll reactivate when the work is complete. By noon, I was back at the hotel, sipping tea, when my phone buzzed. Marcus. I let it ring. Then Kayla. I let it ring. Then a text from Marcus. Nana, what the hell? Some guy just showed up with papers saying we have to leave in 30 days. And back rent $160,000. This is crazy. Call me now. I didn't reply. I turned my phone to Do Not Disturb and ordered a club sandwich. At 3:17 p.m., Marcus called again. I answered this time. Nana, what is this? Exactly what it says, I replied calmly. You can't do this. This is my mom's house too. Your mother left it to me. The deed is in my name. You've never paid rent. You've never paid a single bill. You've lived there for free for 4 years, while I paid for everything. We're family. Family respects boundaries. Family doesn't tell their grandmother to go to her room in her own house. Silence. Where are you? He asked. At a hotel. I'm fine. You're seriously doing this? I already did. He started yelling. I hung up. The next few days were quiet. I stayed at the Ace for a week, then moved to a lovely boutique hotel in Dumbo with a view of the East River. I walked the Brooklyn Bridge every morning. I ate at restaurants I had always wanted to try. I went to the Brooklyn Museum. I called old friends. I breathed. On the 10th day, Clarence called. They're panicking. Marcus tried to get a lawyer. The lawyer told him he has no case. No lease, no proof of payment, no adverse possession. Claim nothing, they're scrambling. Good. Also, Jamal found out Marcus has been running an Airbnb side hustle on the 2nd and 3rd floors. He's been renting out the guest room and your sewing room without telling you. Made about $18,000 in the last 2 years. All cash, no taxes paid. I laughed softly. Of course he did. We can add that to the damages claim. Unlawful do it. On day 25, Kayla showed up at my hotel. The front desk called up. Ma'am, there's a young woman here. Says she's your granddaughter-in-law. I sighed. Send her up. Kayla looked terrible. Hair in a messy bun. Eyes red. Hoodie 2 sizes too big. Nana Evie, please. We didn't mean it. Marcus was just stressed. He's sorry. We both are. Can we talk? I gestured to the chair. She sat. We've got nowhere to go, she whispered. Marcus lost his job last month. The Airbnb money's gone. We're broke. I looked at her steadily. You had 4 years to save, to plan, to respect my home. Tears started down her cheeks. We didn't think you'd ever do this. That was your mistake. She begged. She cried. She promised they'd change. I listened without interrupting. When she finished, I said, You have 5 days left. Use them wisely. She left crying. On day 30, I didn't go home. I went to Clarence's office in downtown Brooklyn. Jamal was there with the moving truck company and 2 off-duty police officers. They had the eviction order signed by the judge that morning. Clarence looked at me. You ready? I nodded. Oh, bricks and mortar. It's my spine. And nobody gets to bend it again.